Of the president's address is our political expert, Brian Sobel. Different circumstances this year with Democrats in control of the House. Brian, how does that play into the president's call for unity?
Well, he has to make the case that the Republicans and Democrats could get together and actually get some things done. And this is in the backdrop of the government shutdown, and now we're facing perhaps another government shutdown. So he's actually trying to go over the head of the Congress and go to the American people and say, help us unify, call for unification so that we can get some things done.
Yeah, the deadline for February 15th is fast approaching.
It is.
It's looming. What does he have to say tonight to lay the groundwork for Dems and Republicans to reach some type of deal? Because he is really pushing and says he's standing firm on his deal for border security.
And this is the issue. If he were to move off that point, there would be no need for a continuing resolution, which may happen again, and they would find some way to get along. But if he sticks with the wall as a wall, it looks like Democrats are going to hold the line.
So, Brian, what are the key things that you're going to be looking for tonight from President Trump?
Reaching out and looking for unification is one thing, but I will be very interested in what he talks about domestically and in foreign policy. You know, he's on the foreign policy side has taken some decisions that have upset a lot of people. You know, possibly removing troops from Syria, removing troops from Afghanistan and other places. There's a lot of things going on internationally that even the military isn't happy with.
There will be a different House Speaker sitting directly behind the president tonight. It'll be Nancy Pelosi. We're used to seeing Paul Ryan there. Everyone will see every move, her facial expressions. What are you expecting her response? How will she react to President Trump tonight? She's
a fairly stoic person. We've seen her as speaker before. She doesn't tend to emote too much, but I suspect at certain points in the speech, there will be body language that will give the clue as to whether she's appreciating what he's saying or not.
Brian, you've actually been to a State of the Union with the second George Bush. Actually, let's watch the Sergeant-at-Arms right here.
Madam Speaker, the President of the United States.
We just saw the president walking in there, shaking hands, as is typical. Brian, you've been to one of these when George H.W. Bush was giving his State of the Union. What's it like to be in the room right now as the president is making his way inside?
It is electric, in one word. And it was actually George Bush, George W. Bush.
Okay.
But in any case, they're all the same. It is high excitement. The Capitol is lit up in every which way that you can believe, outside and inside. The security is immense, and there's just, as I say, electricity in the air inside the House chamber.
I'm just trying to picture being inside there in this historic Capitol building. It's just jam-packed, isn't it?
Well, it is, and what it says to the whole world is that the American democracy lives, it thrives. We put all three branches of the government in the building together, judicial, executive, legislative, along with members of the military, and it's really a remarkable show of democracy.
But they all come together in this one moment, but then the next day the divisiveness is all apparent.
Sadly, that is the case, but it's not new. It's historic. This night, every time you have a State of the Union, brings people together in the same room. Platitudes are made during the speech and high and lofty themes, and that kind of carries over for a few days, and then it sort of reverts back to the party politics.
Tonight, there are more Democrats in the room than Republicans for the first time. A lot of Americans will be watching. How important are the optics as far as who stands, who claps, who shows, who doesn't show?
It's very orchestrated, Julie, and they already know what the speech is. They know where they're going to stand. They know when they're going to sit on their hands, and they've worked it all out. It's very theatrical.
President here is about to speak. It's a 5,000-word speech. It's expected to take him about an hour. Brian, what do you expect very quickly from the Democratic response?
I believe the Democratic response is going to say that much of what you heard tonight is either inaccurate or is taking the country in the wrong direction. That has to be the theme, that, you know, Democrats have the right answer. The Republicans and the president do not have the right answer.
The president looks like he's getting ready, but is taking a moment to accept the applause.
Yes.
Brian, there's also a large freshman class. They've been very outspoken on Twitter. How well-mannered do you think they will be tonight?
Huge question, and we will see. You know, this is a very staid body typically, but you may hear some catcalls or some "No, Mr. President."
You think there might be catcalls, really?
There might be. This is a new group of more vocal people. You know, if you watch the British Parliament, there's a lot of shouting that goes on. It's a very loud kind of place. Typically, the House of Representatives and the Senate, you don't hear that except on occasion. But, you know, we're pretty divided right now. We may hear something.
How important is the State of the Union speech? And can it really make a difference for the president and his agenda?
Short term, Frank, it can give the president, and always does, a bounce. You know, the pollster bounce. His ratings will go up.
Thank you very much.